Every man who ever held power believed, somewhere deep inside, that he was different, that the rules that applied to ordinary men, aging, failure, death, somehow didn't apply to him. And then the moment came, for every single one of them. The moment when all the power, all the armies, all the gold in the world meant absolutely nothing. Today we're going inside the final moments of history's most powerful men. Their last words, their last thoughts, and what those final moments reveal about everything they built and everything they lost. March 15th, 44 BC. Julius Caesar walked into the theater of Pompey expecting an ordinary Senate meeting. He had been warned. A soothsayer had told him to beware the Ides of March. His wife Calpurnia had begged him not to go that morning after a nightmare so disturbing she woke up screaming. A man had handed him a note outside the theater containing the names of every conspirator and the details of the plot. Caesar took the note and never read it. Within minutes of entering the building, he was surrounded. The first blade hit his shoulder, then another, 23 stab wounds in total. The last face Caesar saw belonged to Marcus Brutus, one of his closest friends and a man he had personally pardoned after the Civil War. His last words, according to historians, were directed at Brutus. "Et tu, Brute, even you my son." He pulled his toga over his face so no one would see his expression and collapsed. The most powerful man in the Roman world died on a marble floor in a pool of his own blood, betrayed by the men he trusted most. Babylon, 323 BC. Alexander the Great had just returned from the edge of the known world. He had conquered Persia, Egypt, and pushed all the way into modern-day India. He was 32 years old and already the most successful military commander in human history. Then came the fever. After a night of heavy drinking, some historians suspect poison, Alexander fell into a decline that lasted 10 days. He lost his voice. He lost his ability to move. His generals, terrified, filed past his bed one by one to say goodbye. In his final hours, his generals gathered close and asked him the question that would determine the fate of millions of people. "Who do you leave your empire to?" Alexander looked at them, and with what little strength he had left, he whispered 3 words. "To the strongest." He died hours later. He was 32 years old. His empire, the largest the world had ever seen, was torn apart within a generation by the very generals standing at his bedside. His wife was murdered. His son was murdered. His mother was murdered. 3 words, and everything collapsed. May 5th, 1821. The island of St. Helena, middle of the South Atlantic Ocean. Napoleon Bonaparte, the man who had crowned himself Emperor of France, who had controlled most of Europe, who had humiliated every major power on the continent, lay dying in a damp bedroom on a remote island with a handful of servants and a British guard outside his door. 6 years of exile had reduced him to this. In his final days, he drifted in and out of consciousness, whispering fragmented thoughts about France, about his battles, about Josephine, the wife he had divorced for political reasons and never stopped loving. His last recorded word, spoken in the final moments before he lost consciousness forever, was a single word. France. Not his son, not Josephine, not victory or glory. France. The man who had conquered Europe died thinking about the country that had exiled him. He was 51 years old. 453 AD, the night of Attila's wedding. The most feared man alive, the king who had terrorized 2 Roman empires simultaneously, who had made Constantinople pay tribute, who entire populations fled from at the mere mention of his name, was celebrating his marriage to a young woman named Ildiko. He never woke up. Attila the Hun was found dead in his bed the following morning. No wounds, no signs of struggle, no poison ever proven. He had suffered a massive nosebleed in his sleep and drowned in his own blood. No last words, no final battle, no dramatic speech, just silence. The scourge of God, gone on his wedding night from a nosebleed. His sons began fighting over his empire before his body was cold. Within a generation, the Hunnic Empire had completely collapsed. The people he had terrorized rose up and destroyed everything he had built. The most feared man in the world left behind nothing but a story. Caesar betrayed by his closest friend. Alexander leaving his empire to no one. Napoleon dying with one word on his lips. Attila gone without a sound. For different men, for different endings. One pattern. Power does not protect you from the moment that ends everything. It just makes the fall longer and the silence louder. If that made you think, subscribe to TerraScope. Every week we go deeper into the moments history never forgets.